Hello everyone, welcome back, and today is week 11 of my album rankings. And of course, this week we have Astronaut. Now, I think many of you will know that Astronaut is the album that Duran Duran did after their reunion. It is the final album, I believe, so far to feature all 5 of the original band members. I think Astronaut is a brilliant album, and I'm quite disappointed because I couldn't really find a lot of information on a lot of the songs on Astronaut, which I was really disappointed about, because with this album being quite popular, you know, with it being the reunion album, I thought that there would be quite a lot of information about the songs and, you know, interesting things I could find out about it, but I didn't really find much about the songs. I also kind of forgot to actually look into the album itself, which is quite bad. I'm gonna just have to learn to improvise. Astronaut will be 20 years old this year, which is exciting. It actually was released the same year that I was born, except I'm quite a little bit older than the Astronaut album. I was released in January, and Astronaut was released in October. So yeah, I'm older, but it's cool to have a Duran Duran album that was released in the same year that I was born. But anyway, I want to make my usual disclaimer that just because a song is lower down in the ranking than another one, it doesn't mean that I don't like the song. It just means that I'm less likely to listen to that one more than the others. Now also, I want to quickly say that it was really difficult to rank this album. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I actually think I struggled with ranking this album the most out of all the albums that I've ranked so far, and I wasn't expecting that, because if you watch my previous rankings, you'll know that I said that I found it hard to rank the 90s albums, and I thought that was it then. I thought it would be a lot easier for me to rank the albums now that we're past pop trash, but this one was actually the hardest to rank. I've actually got scribbles of where I've ranked songs and then thought, no, I don't want to put that there, I'm moving that, and then I've gone back on it, and it's been really difficult. I was having a lot of inner turmoil about where I wanted some of the songs to go. But anyway, let's get on with the ranking. So at number 12 we have Point of No Return. Point of No Return was actually a song I did find a little bit of information about. Nick said that Point of No Return was recorded and remained in its entirety from the pre-production stages in France, which I thought was really interesting, you know. So I guess that song, you know, they recorded it, didn't do any tweaking to it, it was just recorded and left as it was. I like Point of No Return, but for me it feels a little bit like there's just something missing in that song. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it's quite a slower song as well. It's a rather mellow song in my opinion. So Nick also added that to him it's one of the most beautiful moments on the album, and I couldn't find anything official confirming this, but I saw someone say that the track is supposedly about 9/11, and after I looked at the lyrics I sort of understood what their point might be, as one of the lyrics is, as we watch the tower falling down. But obviously Duran Duran songs are also ambiguous, and the tower falling down can be like interpreted as many things really. I think like many Duran Duran songs, Point of No Return is an ambiguous song, and it probably has multiple meanings that you can interpret however you like as the listener. And like I said, I couldn't find anything official confirming the theory about Point of No Return being about 9/11. Perhaps there maybe is something out there that confirms that, but I couldn't find it. Like I said, I really struggled to find information about songs on this album, and I'm really disappointed about that, because the songs on the album are great. I was really hoping there'd be some information about them, but unfortunately there was not much. But at number 12 we have Point of No Return. At number 11, we have One of Those Days. Again, this was another song that I couldn't really find anything about. And I don't really listen to One of Those Days that much. In fact, I think I've only really listened to it when I listen to Astronaut in full. And I don't know why, it's just one that I seem to really neglect from this album. So every time I actually listen to it, I'm kind of like shocked at it, really. Not shocked, but I'm just like, oh, this is how it goes, you know? When you kind of don't really listen to a song on an album that much and you're like, how does this song go? And then you play it and you're like, oh yeah, now I remember. And speaking of which, I think something about the beginning guitar reminded me of something quite 90s. I'm not quite sure. I think in a way the whole song does, and maybe it's just me thinking that, but it gave me sort of like a 90s sort of Britpop vibe. And you know, you might watch this and think, what? How are you getting that from that song? And I'm not sure, but that's just what I was getting from it. Now, I do think I will probably listen to One of Those Days a lot more. As I said, I've neglected it quite a little bit, and I think it does deserve to be played a little more, so I will definitely try to do that. Now, as I said, I couldn't really find that much about the song, but I found an Ask Catty question, and someone was asking about the song. It was apparently the last song to be completed on Astronaut, and it is also one of Nick's personal favourites from the album. But apart from that, there was not much information about One of Those Days at all, as there wasn't about many songs on this album, which I was really disappointed about. But at number 11, we have One of Those Days. At number 10, we have Chains. Again, Chains I literally could not find anything for. I'm quite disappointed about this because I feel like with the past 3 albums that I've ranked, I could at least find a little bit of information about at least half of the songs on the album, and I don't really feel like I found that much information about any of the songs on this album except for the singles at all. Considering I couldn't find anything about Chains, I suppose to me it sort of sounds like a bit of a conflict, you know. I also kind of wonder about some of the songs on the album, if they're about, you know, returning to sort of like a popularity again, because, you know, if you think about, well, if I remember, I'll hopefully mention the songs that I think are about that as I go. Duran Duran went through a period of people, you know, not really paying them much attention, not having as much popularity as they used to. And then, you know, they all got back together and suddenly there was an increase in popularity and, you know, everybody was wanting to know them again that hadn't been loyal and stuck around since, you know, the band broke up and went through all the changes that they did. So I definitely wonder if Chains is about, you know, sort of being tied into that, well, not tied into that life, but, you know, sort of, you know, like the door is standing open and my whole life in the moment. And, you know, if you look at the lyrics, because the life just can't let go, I do think that perhaps it could be, you know, like a little about what it's like to, you know, be in that sort of life, you know, with everybody like, you know, obsessing over you and going crazy over you. I mean, it was probably quite a drastic change for them to, you know, go back into that after maybe 15 years. It'd been quite a long time, and, you know, but yeah, I'm not really sure what the song's about. As I said, I couldn't find anything, but I do think to me it just sounds about like being tied into something that you don't exactly want to escape from, you know, like it's a difficult thing, but you also don't want to give up on it, if that makes sense. But at number 10, we have Chains. At number 9, we have Still Breathing. I actually really like Still Breathing. I think it is a really beautiful song, and it's, you know, definitely one of the more deeper Duran Duran songs, definitely. But what with it being quite a melancholic song, a very deep and rather sad song, I don't really listen to it that often, and that's why it's quite low down in the list. As I said, I think it is a great song, but I don't know if I think it was a great choice as an album closer. I've said before that I always think that you want to end an album on a more uplifting, upbeat, positive sort of song, you know, something that'll get you in the mood to like dance or at least feel happy. And I feel like Still Breathing, you know, kind of leaves you on a bit of a low once you finish the album because of how deep it is. And, you know, I know that Duran Duran do tend to order their songs in a certain way, and, you know, that's how you're meant to listen to the album. I'm pretty sure I have heard or read Nick say that. You know, I could say like, oh, perhaps they should have swapped Still Breathing and Point of No Return, so that, you know, at least Point of No Return is a little bit more, it's got a little bit more of that like energy in it, which would make a better album closer in my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with Still Breathing at all, but I just think that to end the album on it, it's, you know, there's a lot of songs on Astronaut that could have been the last song on the album that, you know, would have been more uplifting and a great way to end the album on. Whereas I feel like Still Breathing, it kind of, because it's quite deep, it kind of makes you a little bit like, oh, a little bit melancholic. And I always think you want to end an album on something that's going to make you feel good and happy. And I know you can say, well, you know, just stop the album before Still Breathing comes on, but Still Breathing's a great song, and it's not really a song that I'd want to skip either, if that makes sense. Now, I couldn't find anything about Still Breathing, which I'm really disappointed about, because I really thought there would be some information about this song, because I definitely think it's coming from within. It's definitely a personal song, I feel. Like, some songs, you just write songs and they're just about whatever. They don't really have a meaning. They're not really personal. They're just a random idea. But some songs are, you know, from within, and they're quite personal. And I think Still Breathing is one of them. And I was hoping that I'd find at least a little bit of information about it, but I couldn't. But at number 9, we have Still Breathing. At number 8, we have Nice. Nice is a song that's always fluctuating on the ranking for me. Sometimes I really like it, other times I've kind of worn it out. Now, Nice was one of the first songs the band wrote once they reunited in 2001, but a final version wasn't recorded until 2004. I'm pretty sure that Nice is about Yasmin Le Bon, Simon's wife. You know, just the beginning lyric, take the beautiful sting of a Scorpio. I mean, unless he was looking in the mirror and thought, I'm going to write myself a song. Which, you know, I wouldn't blame him, because, hey, he's pretty good looking. But yeah, I think it is probably about Yasmin, and maybe that is out there somewhere that it is. But if the song isn't all about Yasmin, I think the first, you know, some of the lyrics are definitely inspired by her. Nice was a single for the radio in Europe and download only. So I believe that means there was, you know, no physical copy of Nice as a single, no CD. And obviously there wouldn't be a vinyl, because vinyls weren't really a thing anymore at that point in time. But I thought that was interesting. I didn't actually know that it was a single. I also think I read that there were no B-sides to the song either, but I couldn't really find anything else about Nice, so again, that's another song that I couldn't find much information about. So at number 8, we have Nice. At number 7, we have Taste the Summer. I really could not find anything about this song at all. I really like Taste the Summer. I think it's a great song. It's vibrant, it's upbeat, it's really groovy. It's the exact sort of song that you would want to listen to, you know, really get you in a good mood. I mean, I know the song is called Taste the Summer, but I do think it really is a summer song. It is really the sort of song that you listen to just as spring starts to come into summer and the days are starting to get really warm. It is a song that, you know, it reminds me of like warm nights when you're on holiday and that like sort of cool breeze you get in the evening, but it's still really warm. It really does just remind me of like warm summer evenings, being by the beach, getting cocktails while you're on holiday, that sort of thing. But I really couldn't find anything about this song, and I'm really disappointed about that because I wasn't really expecting to find much, but I was hoping I would find at least a little bit of information about it, but sadly there just was not anything. So at number 7, we have Taste the Summer. At number 6, we have Bedroom Toys. Now, Bedroom Toys is perhaps one of the most unserious, craziest Duran Duran songs, and I think it's great because it's just, you know, it's just rather random. And I remember when I first listened to Astronaut and I was looking through the track list and I was just like, oh my god, what's this? But literally I was like, oh my god. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't as dirty as I was expecting it to be. You know, it's cheeky and it's naughty in its own way, but it's also not, you know, really over the top and completely obvious. It's not obvious that it's entirely about what it's about, you know, so I wouldn't say it's totally not PG, but yeah, it's just a funny song, really. It's quite a good song. It's quite groovy, actually. It's rather funky. And it is a song that I would actually really want to see live. You know, I always have a song from an album that I would love to see live the most, and I think Bedroom Toys is probably one of those. I have seen videos of it live on YouTube, and it seems like such a great, energetic song to see live. I mean, I envy anyone who went and saw the Astronaut tour anyway, because, you know, I was literally a little baby when that, you know, happened. So even though I was alive, I was far too young to even know who Duran Duran were. So I definitely wasn't going to the Astronaut tour, but I think that is probably one of the tours besides the Dilate Your Mind tour that I would just love to see a live show of, you know. But yeah, as I said, I couldn't really find anything about Bedroom Toys, and I don't think I really needed to. The song is rather self-explanatory, but I do think it would have been nice just to, you know, hear kind of about where the inspiration came from. I'm presuming probably Simon wrote the song. Was it just a random thought that like came into his head? Because this, by the looks of it, was also another one of the first songs that was written for Astronaut. It was written in June 2001. So I would just like to know what the thought behind that was. Like, what inspired it? Were they just doing some shopping one day? You know, he walked past one of those shops and was like, oh, song idea incoming. As he said, he's been around the world and he's seen a lot of things, so he's probably been in quite a few of those shops, or he's probably at least walked past a few, but he's probably definitely been in a few as well. But, you know, so I really would love to, like, if I could actually, if someone gave me the chance to just sit down with Simon Le Bon, I mean, I'd die, actually, of, like, shock. But if you gave me the chance to sit down and talk about some of the songs with him, I would definitely ask about that one. I mean, I'd probably be, like, really nervous, but I would, for any song, but I'd be like, so, what was the inspiration behind Bedroom Toys? Someone make that happen, I've really got to know. As I said, I couldn't find anything about it, so a little bit disappointed about that. At number 6, we have Bedroom Toys. We're in the top 5 now. And at number 5, we have Reach Up for the Sunrise, which I believe sometimes people just call Sunrise, is the lead single from Astronaut, and it is the first single since A View to a Kill to feature all 5 original members of the band. I love Reach Up for the Sunrise, and again, this was a song that I really couldn't find anything about, and I thought I would, what with it being a single from the album and one of the most popular songs from the album. But again, I really could not find anything about it, and I was very disappointed once again. I have my own memories of this. I have a story, and my story for Reach Up for the Sunrise is just that I remember hearing it playing very occasionally on the radio when I was younger, and it was one of those songs that, you know, it always put me in a good mood. I remember as a kid, I used to think this song is great. I didn't hear it much at all. It was just one of those songs that would come on, and when it was in the moment, it was the greatest song ever, and then, you know, it would end and I'd kind of forget about what the song was. And it was only a couple years ago, when I was really getting back into Duran Duran, I rediscovered the song. Well, something about the title of it felt a little bit familiar to me. I was like, oh, I'm starting to remember something. Now that I'm starting to remember. No, but I was starting to remember something. And I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to listen to it at some point, so I'm going to do it now. And I started playing it, and I was like, it got to the chorus, and I was like, I know what this is. Oh my gosh. Like a little blast from the past. So yeah, I rediscovered Reach Up for the Sunrise, and I was very happy about it. Well, I've rediscovered a lot of songs from being a kid that I would hear on the radio, and then realised they are Duran Duran, and kind of realised, oh my god, I have loved that band since being a kid, and I kind of didn't know. I just liked the songs on the radio. I think it was always in me to become a Duranie. Now look where we are. I'm just sitting here making videos about their albums. But yeah, as I said, I couldn't find anything about Reach Up for the Sunrise again, apart from it being the lead single from Astronaut. Now, I was again very disappointed that there was just not that much information about this song, because I thought, especially with it being one of the singles from the album, there's usually a little bit more information about singles, but no, there wasn't much I could find about this. So at number 5, we have Reach Up for the Sunrise. At number 4, we have Want You More. I just realised that rhyme. That's quite fun, isn't it? Literally no information about this song anywhere. I think he's just singing about how he wants someone more. What I'm getting from Want You More, like judging by the lyrics, is just that it is, you know, it sort of seems like, you know, falling for someone, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure, and it's like, you know, you shouldn't want them because of the way they're treating you, but at the same time, that is making you want them more. It seems to me, when you listen to the lyrics, it is sort of like they're playing with your emotions a little bit, and they're not kind of, you know, telling you exactly how they feel. They're kind of messing you around, but that's the excitement that you're finding in them, is that they don't know what they want, and you're kind of enjoying that they don't know what they want. It's about, you know, seeing a person and they're kind of messing around with you a little bit, and they're always kind of, you know, causing a problem, but at the same time it's exciting and mysterious to you, and, you know, you kind of want them more because of that, but you don't think that you should. But yeah, I guess when you like listen to the words, and it's like, because nothing is good enough, but there's always something to keep me guessing. It's sort of like feeling like you can never do anything right, but there's also something that keeps drawing you back to this person. And, you know, I thought I'd just throw my interpretation in there, because, like I said, I couldn't find any information about the song at all, and I thought, you know, I have a little interpretation of the song, and why not share it, because I have nothing else to talk about this song with. So there we go. So at number 4, we have Want You More. I still think it's funny that that rhymes. At number 3, we have What Happens Tomorrow. I've actually ranked this in the same place that it is in on the album. What Happens Tomorrow is the 3rd song on Astronaut, and it's in 3rd place on my rankings, so that's pretty interesting. And I've just realised now that I also put Taste the Summer in the same place that it is on the album. It's the 7th song on Astronaut, and I ranked it at number 7. What Happens Tomorrow is the second single from Astronaut. I found a little bit of information about this song, but it wasn't much. I did expect there to be more, but I think, again, this is a song, once you listen to the lyrics, it makes sense when I tell you what it's about. So Nick said a young survivor of 9/11 influenced one of the songs on Astronaut, which I'm assuming must be this one. Nick also added that the title for the song was taken from a newsreel of a boy being asked what he thought of the situation, to which he simply answered, "No one knows what will happen tomorrow." And I think here, when you look at the lyrics, you know, the song does start up with, "Child, don't you worry," and, you know, it goes to say, like, brings you down the news they sell you, and only got ourselves to blame for this behaviour. No, I think when you listen to the words, it is sort of saying, it is really a song sort of about, you know, hope and belief that things will work out. And, you know, it's a song that can, you know, be interpreted however you listen to it, really. It could also just be about other things as well, which Duran Duran songs are ambiguous. So while a song may have an actual meaning, they're also always usually written in a way that it can be interpreted differently as well if the listener chooses to do so. And so while What Happens Tomorrow may have a meaning, it can also be interpreted as, you know, just a symbol of belief and hope that you've just got to hold on because it will get better, you know? You know, that's at least how I saw it before I found out this information about where the title came from. I just always listened to it and thought it was, you know, just about, like, believing and holding on and fighting and knowing that, you know, it will get better. But either way, I think it is a really beautiful song, and, you know, it's very meaningful. It helps to remind you that it's going to be okay. And so I think, you know, when you're having a bad day and you're just feeling really crap, it is a good song to pull you back out of that place. But that's all I could really find about What Happens Tomorrow, really. As I said, it is a really beautiful song, and I would love to see it live. In a way, it kind of means something to me, which I'm not gonna like talk about. I'm not gonna talk about what it means to me, but it does have a little meaning to me. For that reason, I would love to see it live, and also just the fact that it is a beautiful song anyway. But as I said, there wasn't that much I could find about the song. And so at number 3, we have What Happens Tomorrow. At number 2, we have the album's title track, Astronaut. Again, I couldn't find anything about this song. Now, typically, I don't think I have really found a lot about the title tracks, unless there actually is a meaning behind them, which in Astronaut's case, I don't really think there is. It's just, you know, it's just the title track. Okay, now I'm gonna be honest. Since I first listened to this song, well, maybe not the first time I listened to it, but the more and more I listened to it, the more I was like, this is a sexual song, isn't it? I mean, if you listen to A Pleasure Rising When I Take the Hit, now what do we think that might mean? What do we think that might mean? Because I have an idea, but I'm not sure that I want to say it on video. I mean, I sort of have, but I'm not actually going to say it, you know? And, like, I think We're Gonna Go to Space is also a euphemism of, you know, reaching a certain point of something. If you know what I'm trying to say, I'm, like, trying to say it without saying it. Because, you know, I guess I'm taking the Le Bon approach here because, you know, I'm trying to say something without saying it, but I think you'll probably understand what I am actually saying. Lyrics like Coming On When I Touch Your Skin, there's just lyrics in it that suggest to me that this song is a sexual song. I couldn't find anything about what the song is about, and I couldn't even find anybody really agreeing with my thoughts, but that's what I think. Maybe anybody out there might agree. Is there anyone out there who will agree with me? As well, like, when this astronaut connects, I'm thinking, what is the astronaut in this song? I think astronaut is just a euphemism for something. You're leaving with an astronaut, and then the astronaut connects. Now we're going to connect the dots and think about what that might mean. But I do actually really like Astronaut. It's a very catchy song, and I struggled between putting this at number 1, number 2. And to be honest, this song and my favourite song tend to go up and down and fluctuate. So, you know, within a few days, Astronaut could probably be my favourite song from Astronaut. But right now, Astronaut is at number 2. And finally, at number 1, my favourite song from Astronaut is Finest Hour. Again, I couldn't find a single thing about Finest Hour, and I was really hoping to find something about this song, because I think, you know, the lyrics of it are amazing, and by the looks of it, this was written in 2004. It doesn't specify what month or anything, but considering that it was written in 2004, which is when the album came out, it perhaps could have been one of the last songs to be written on the album. Now, as I said, I could not find anything about it, and I'm disappointed about that. But, so I have an interpretation of this song, and I think really you take notice of the lyrics. I think the song could perhaps be about them sort of going back into that era of everyone knowing them. Sort of like that transition of like being the biggest band in the world and then, you know, complete sort of silence over them. And when people weren't being silent about them, they were criticising them. When you listen to the lyrics, like, you speak to the crowd but nobody hears, and where is the violence in this crowd? And now that the voice has been replaced, I do think you listen to the words, it maybe sounds like, you know, the song is about sort of, they went from being like the biggest band in the world, having loads of people shouting about them, and, you know, a lot of people giving them everything, to sort of, you know, that sort of fizzling out and them becoming silent, you know, lose it. Like, a lot of the fans, you know, left once Andy and Roger left, and then a lot of the fans that were remaining left once John left. And, you know, I think it really is sort of about, you know, getting their power back, getting back who they were, and taking all that power back, you know, being like, hey, we're back, and you're gonna know about it. It's saying, like, gonna make this stand the finest hour that we see. And I think that, you know, could mean, you know, like, really putting that, like, when they all got back together and they do their first show, it could perhaps be about them all, like, you know, really putting that all into it, you know, sort of so to say, like, hey, we're here and we can still do what we were doing like 18 years ago. We're not erased. We never give, you know, we never completely stopped. We can still make music. We can still put on a show. Here we are. And I think, you know, I think that is what it is about. It's sort of like them perhaps taking back their power, and, you know, maybe also having some fear that perhaps getting back together there would actually not be as much excitement as they'd expect. I'm not entirely sure. That is just my interpretation, and it could be completely wrong, but, you know, the whole point of Duran Duran songs is to kind of make your own little interpretation and story for it. And as I said, I couldn't find anything about Finest Hours, so I thought I would share my interpretation of the song. So there we go. But yeah, so at number 1, my favourite song from Astronaut is Finest Hour. So that concludes my ranking of Astronaut. Now, as I said, I had a very difficult time ranking this album because it is an amazing album. I think one of the reasons I love it so much as well is because, you know, it's the original 5 back together. I love the Astronaut era and the Reunion era, and although I wasn't exactly alive during that time, or, you know, I was barely born, really. That doesn't really mean anything because there's a lot of people my age that like the Beatles and they were definitely not alive near when they were in their prime. I think Astronaut era and the Wedding Album era are my 2 favourite Duran Duran eras. I think the one thing that I kind of regret in life is that I wasn't born about 20 years earlier, so then I could have gone to the Astronaut reunion, so that I could have gone to the Astronaut tour and seen Astronaut live. It's a great album. I love Astronaut, and I love the cover, can I just say. It's one of my favourite album covers, along with Medazzaland. Controversial probably, but that's me. That's me when it comes to music and popular opinions. I have seen a couple of people say they don't particularly like this cover because it's just kind of, apparently it's a little bit boring, but no, I do just like how it's very simple, but it's also arty. I like how all the members of the band are on it, and it's, you know, black and white, but then there's like some pink in there. I mean, pink's sort of becoming a Duran Duran colour, really. I've noticed quite a lot of their things are pink. But, you know, I like it because I think it is arty and, you know, stylish. I think it sort of shows, you know, that the band have matured, but in a very artistic way. And I don't mean like getting older, I just mean that, you know, obviously they were in or near in their 40s at this point. But yeah, by mature, I didn't mean old. I just meant, you know, obviously they were in or near in their 40s at this point. And, you know, so their style sort of changed. But yeah, I just think the cover's very nice. And I would like to put it on my wall, actually. I keep meaning to, like, buy a poster of Astronaut. And I just never get round to it. So that's terrific. That is my ranking of Astronaut. Of course, next week will be Red Carpet Massacre, which some people like and some people don't. I do. Of course I do. I'm looking forward to ranking that one. Hopefully it won't be as difficult as ranking Astronaut, but we will see. So now we only have 5 more weeks to go. I can't believe that I only have 5 more albums to rank. So if you want to stick around for that, that is appreciated. And until the next one, bye.